Hey guys, it's Jessica and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a little bit different from my typical traveling vlog. As you can tell, I'm currently, actually you can't tell because you have no idea what my room looks like, but I'm currently not traveling and I'm back home. This is my room. Please don't mind it, it's very messy. So I want to start out by answering some of the questions that you all had for me, and then I want to end this video with a few of my recommendations, suggestions if you're planning your own solo Japan trip, or just a Japan trip. Doesn't have to be solo, but solo is cool too. Alright, so let's get started. So the first question is from Kiara Stewart. So Kiara says, "This has been one of the best solo Japan vlogs I've seen. You deserve more views. Would you mind making a video on how you planned your trip, why you decided to go solo, and your budget?" Oh, thanks Kiara. I'm so glad that you enjoyed watching my solo Japan vlogs. So how did I plan my trip? First, I made a huge list of everything that I wanted to see, everything that I wanted to do, everything that I wanted to eat. Mostly eat. It was mostly a lot of food. So then I compiled that onto a huge list, and then once I had that on like a Google Doc or something, I took that list and I went to TripAdvisor. Then I started looking up a little bit about each thing on TripAdvisor. So kind of the price point, the area, recommendations, you know, people recommended going early in the day or later in the afternoon. And then I would just jot those notes down next to the place or activity or restaurant that I wanted to go to. And then I went through the list and I cut things out that I knew weren't gonna happen. For example, if it was way out of my budget, or if it was like super out of the way, or if I like couldn't get tickets to it. So for example, the Studio Ghibli Museum, I had a really hard time getting tickets to that. And I just cut things out of my list. Afterwards, I kind of took all of the stuff that I wanted and I just grouped it by location. That way I wouldn't have to take the subway from one end of the city to the next. Yeah, so that's kind of pretty much the gist of how I planned my trip. Then once I had all of that grouped, I just kind of decided which day I wanted to do what. Well, I knew I didn't want to go to Tsukiji on a weekend just because it was probably going to be really crazy. So I knew I wanted to pick a weekday. So then I would put that on like a Tuesday. I actually have a planner that I use and I'll show you guys actually. So this is called a passion planner, and it was super helpful for me during my trip because the layout is just kind of like this. So then I just kind of took my planner and I wrote down pretty much what I wanted to do each day in the order in which I wanted to do it, and it just helped me create a visual. So it was easier to keep track of everything that I wanted to do that day because it was just kind of all at a glance. Passion Planner actually offers the free PDF online. So if you guys want to use it for your travels, I'll go ahead and put the link for that in the description box below. One thing that I want to mention that was really important is that even if you have a itinerary of all the things that you want to do, just remember to stay really flexible. Because traveling is super crazy and you never know what's going to happen, and things are going to definitely not go according to plan all the time. Just use your itinerary as a general guideline and make adjustments accordingly. So why did I decide to go solo? So last year there was like a time where Japan tickets from LAX were super affordable, and I was like, man, this is like the perfect time. Like you can go and see the cherry blossoms, and I knew I really wanted to go. One thing I want to mention is that my job is really flexible, so they're okay with me taking time off to travel, but not everybody's job is so flexible. At that point I kind of went around and I started asking my friends if anyone could take 1 or 2 weeks off just to travel through Japan with me. But it was just so hard finding somebody to go with me that eventually I was just like, why don't I just go by myself? And so I bought a plane ticket and I told myself that I would just figure it out, and I did. See, I'm still alive. Honestly, I was really scared. I think I've never been alone for an extended period of time, meaning that, you know, there's usually somebody to talk to, a friend, a family member who's in close proximity, but this was the first time that I was gonna be by myself for 2 weeks. I knew that I wanted to go, and I knew that I could do it. Okay, I didn't know that I could do it, but I did it, so you can do it too. Okay, so what was my budget? My budget was about 1,500 USD, with 500 of those dollars going to my plane ticket. So that left me with about $1,000 USD to play around with in Japan. Here, actually, let me break it down for you guys. First off, I had to kind of cross off my necessities. So that was plane ticket, $500, and I got a JR pass. I saved a lot of money by just getting a 7-day pass as opposed to a 14-day pass, even though I was in Japan for 14 days. I knew I was gonna be in Tokyo for 5 days before taking the train down to Osaka and Kyoto. And so I just made sure that I activated it on the 5th day, and I didn't stay in Kyoto and Osaka for more than 7 days, and on the 7th day I just took the train back to Tokyo, and I saved myself a lot of money actually. So a 7-day JR pass is about $181 USD versus a 14-day JR pass, which is about $293. Yeah, shaved off about $100 doing that. Another way I kind of cut down the cost for myself is I stayed in hostels in kind of like shared dormitory style rooms. Yeah, when I was in Tokyo, I stayed at the Holiday View Inn in a 8-bunk dormitory, and that broke down to about $30 a night. In Kyoto, I stayed at the J Hopper's guest house. That broke down to about $22.80 a night. When I got into Osaka, I stayed at the Capsule Hotel Shinsai Bashi. That broke down to about $27 a night. And once I got back to Tokyo, I stayed at the Centurion Spa. It was just also another capsule hotel, but it was like kind of nice, you know? And that broke down to about $42 a night. In total, for my entire trip, about 13 nights of sleeping, it cost me $383. With the plane tickets, the JR pass, and the places that I needed to sleep, which is pretty much all the necessities, that left me with what broke down to be about $40 USD a day for food and fun and stuff like that, and shopping, which I know doesn't sound like too much, but you have to keep in mind that some days I literally just woke up and wanted to eat a rice ball from 7-Eleven, which was like $1, so it kind of all worked out. So Amy She says, hi, what's the weather like there in April? Hi Amy, the weather I think was perfect. It was kind of like a mix between like sometimes it would get a little too warm, but sometimes it would get chilly. And the reason why I chose April to go was because it was cherry blossom season and it was so nice. Highly recommend. Next question, Alejandra asks, sorry, I live in a really loud neighborhood. Alejandra says, I'm finally being brave and going to Tokyo by myself this year, and you are giving me a lot of hope that this isn't a big mistake and that I can do it. Was it scary? Mostly I'm scared of being alone and scared, but seeing your vlogs are giving me a lot of ideas. Again, hope. So thank you. Oh, hi Alejandra. I'm so glad that my vlogs are helping, and yes, you can do it. I didn't think that I could do it, but if I can do it, you totally can do it. Was it scary? I think the scariest part was probably just getting on the plane to go to Tokyo by myself and realizing that, you know, it was just me. But I think more than anything, traveling solo was empowering because it made me realize that, like, yeah, I can totally do this on my own. And honestly, traveling alone was actually really, really cool because you didn't have to kind of ask anybody or consult anybody when you wanted to make a decision. So for example, like I would always eat whenever I got hungry. I didn't have to ask somebody like, oh, what do you want to eat? When do you want to eat? It was just like, I want a snack, so I'm just gonna eat it. Or, you know, if I wanted to change my plans and not go to see this museum or see the cherry blossoms, I would just change it without having to ask anybody, and that was awesome. So if I can do it, you can do it. Hannibal Kong says, what type of GoPro are you using? Ramen looks good as hell. Yes, the ramen was extremely good. And for my trip, let's see if it's here. Yeah, so this is the GoPro that I used. This is a GoPro Hero 5. I loved it. I think the quality of video that I shot was really good for the fact that it was so compact, and because I was vlogging and by myself, it didn't make me look that weird because most people couldn't really see it because it's so tiny. And I think this is perfect for traveling. JL says, do you speak any Japanese? If you don't, is it ever difficult to order in restaurants all over Japan? Planning a solo travel trip in May. I hope my language barrier doesn't make things too difficult. Love your vlogs. Hi JL, and thanks for watching. I'm so glad that you like it. Do I speak any Japanese? No, I do not speak any Japanese other than kind of the basic konnichiwa, sumimasen. Yeah, so I don't think you have to worry about the language barrier. People in Japan are super, super nice, and they're more than willing to kind of just go out of their way to help you out a little. And I feel like everyone has kind of been exposed to a little bit of English. I think especially if you're in restaurants, if you just say the word English and they can kind of tell you're a foreigner, then usually they'll bring you an English menu. If they don't have an English menu, then you kind of just point and nod, and it's worked out for me. So one thing that I thought was super helpful was I actually got this book called Instant Japanese, and it just has a bunch of different keywords and key phrases that really helped me out. I think the one that helped me out the most was, where's the bathroom? Yes, that is a key phrase that you should learn. Other than that, I wouldn't be too scared of the language barrier. Everyone's really, really helpful, and you know, you kind of just play charades and it'll work itself out. Lots of pointing, lots of nodding, and you'll be fine. So Anushka sorry if I pronounced that wrong, Anushka1 says, really nice vlog. I definitely will put some of the places you have been on my list to visit. I'm planning on going alone next year, but my biggest fear is the train stations. Are they as complicated as they seem? So hi Anushka, the short answer, no, they're not super complicated. They're actually really straightforward if you've ever kind of taken any subway system, and there are tons of maps and there are tons of people there who are willing to help you, especially if you get lost. One thing that was a godsend for me was Google Maps. So if you don't already have that, I highly recommend that you download that and make sure that you get a pocket Wi-Fi or have some sort of internet connection while you're in Japan. Google Maps just guided me everywhere. It told me where to get on the train, it told me where to get off the train, and if not for Google Maps, I would have gotten super lost. So yeah, Google Maps. So Bob Johnson says, could you recommend a hostel, or what hotel capsule did you stay at? I had a really great experience at the hostels and capsule hotels that I stayed at, so I'll go ahead and link those in the description box below. When I was in Tokyo, I stayed at the When I was in Tokyo for the first time, I stayed in an 8-bunk dormitory at the Holiday View Inn. When I went to Kyoto, I stayed at the J Hoppers guest house. When I stayed in Osaka, I stayed at the Capsule Hotel Shinsai Bashi. And when I came back to Tokyo, I stayed at the Centurion Cabin and Spa. But that one's a women's only one, so I don't think that you can go, Bob, but I'm sure they have like some sort of men's cabin and spa also. Natalie Emma says, I paused the video and came to comment when you started talking about timing the Japan Rail Pass to travel outside of Tokyo to Kyoto and Osaka for 7 days. I just want to say yes. I hate when people think they need a Japan Rail Pass to travel in Tokyo. That way it is much smarter, plus a lot cheaper. I've planned the same thing for my next trip. Yeah, so that's just definitely something that I really wanted to mention to you all. If you're going to Tokyo for 2 weeks, it does not mean that you need a 14-day Japan Rail Pass. I highly recommend just timing your travels correctly and just getting a 7-day pass, and you're gonna save $100. While you're in Tokyo, I just highly recommend that you get a Suica card, which is like a subway card that you load your money onto. The JR Pass won't necessarily work for the lines that you need to use. So in Japan, there are multiple subway lines run by like different companies, and the JR Pass only services some of them, and the other ones are kind of just like metro lines, which your JR Pass won't kind of get you on those. So my recommendation is just get the 7-day pass and time it correctly. Yeah, you'll save a lot of money. Lilza said, found this channel from looking for Japan vlogs, and oh my god, you hold chopsticks like I do. LOL. Yes, I hold my chopsticks really weird. A few of you have kind of pointed that out, and I'm sorry. My parents never corrected me when I was little, and it's too late now. Okay, so yeah, so that's a few of the questions that you all have asked me, but before I end this video, I just want to kind of give a few honorable mentions to things that I think are super important for if you are planning a Japan trip. So the first thing is that you need a source of internet. That will make your trip so much easier. So what I did was I got a pocket Wi-Fi at Narita Airport. Having internet throughout the trip really made my trip so much easier because it allowed me to use the second thing that I'm gonna recommend, which is Google Maps. Google Maps really was like a lifesaver in this trip. It told me where to walk, it told me where to get on the subway, it told me when to get off the subway. When I got lost, it would reroute me. Without Google Maps, I don't know if I would have made it. So I highly recommend getting Google Maps and a pocket Wi-Fi. So another thing that I recommend if you're gonna be traveling solo, which I did, is having something to keep yourself preoccupied. And for me, that was vlogging. I have never really vlogged before Japan, but I wanted to have something that I could do to keep myself preoccupied so that I wouldn't feel lonely or scared. So I kind of kept my mind preoccupied by vlogging and editing, and that really just kept me busy, and I really didn't feel that lonely because the entire time I felt like I had a friend there because I was talking to my camera, which is pretty much talking to you all. And I hope that you all enjoyed kind of coming along with me to Japan and sharing my experiences. So yeah, whether that's vlogging or whether that's you know, just taking videos or taking pictures, photography, whatever it may be, just find something for you to do. Find a purpose for your trip, and then maybe you won't feel as lonely. And well, at least for me, that's what helped me a lot. So you know, if you guys are deciding to take a solo trip, I hope that helps you also. So that about sums it up, and I guess Before I end this video, I just really want to thank all of you guys so much for watching these vlogs. I never thought that anybody would really watch my vlogs. Like I said earlier, I kind of just made them to keep myself preoccupied and, you know, to let my parents know that I was still alive, because they got super worried when I told them that I was going to another country by myself. It makes me so happy that you guys are watching and that you find any use at all in my vlogs, or my vlogs are helpful in any way to your own trips. So if you guys have any other questions about traveling solo, or any questions about Japan, cherry blossom season, anything at all, just go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I will get back to you with the best answer I can provide. If you liked this video, let me know by hitting the thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe for more travel vlogs. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!